Good afternoon, folks. It's Pastor Russ here. I just want to touch base with you this week. I hope everyone is well and safe, healthy. As you know, we have been moved from restricted activities in Schuylkill County to a stay-at-home order from the governor. Just a couple days ago, that was initiated. So as far as that means, you can still go out if you need to get essentials like food or pharmacy items or things of that nature, but otherwise you're supposed to stay at home unless you work for an essential business that is life sustaining, I think they call it. So, but for most of us that means that we need to stay at home. Also, we learned this week that the president has extended the social distancing rules for the entire month of April. So what does that mean for us as a church? Well, it means we won't be able to meet through the month of April in the sanctuary for our Sunday services. There's no sense fighting this or pushing this order because it's only designed for our safety, let's face it. And with the number of older folks in our congregation, the last thing we want is somebody to spread the disease further. This is getting more serious now. It will continue to get more serious over the next few weeks. The numbers do keep going up, and again, it's because people are in contact with one another. As I've said before, this thing doesn't fly through the air and you could just be walking down the street one day and get hit with it. It's when you come in contact with it, either on a surface because somebody else touched it with their hands and they were infected, or they sneezed on you or breathed on you or coughed on you, that the virus was spread into your body that way. It can only get in through like the nose, the mouth, the eyes. Anywhere you have mucous membranes would be the only way that it gets in. It doesn't go in through the skin or whatever. So it's something that we can contain, but we have to be serious about doing it. And we have to say to ourselves, look, even though I don't feel any symptoms, I have to treat myself as though I'm already infected, so I don't want to get anybody else infected. So I want to keep my distance. I want to make sure I keep my hands washed. I want to make sure that I'm not in a place where I can harm anybody else. And if everybody does that, then this virus will die. It will only go as far as its present hosts, and that will be that. But it keeps spreading because people are still breaking the rules or still doing things they shouldn't be doing. I'm not blaming anybody here, don't get me wrong. It's something to continue to emphasize to your family members. Look, this is serious enough that we must do what we can to stop this. We don't want to see our society closed down for months and months and all the terrible economic problems that will cause. We're seeing that we are up to, I think it's, 38 cases confirmed in Schuylkill County now. There have been no deaths, thank God, but the state has increased by another 750 cases. I believe Philadelphia is close to 1,200, Philadelphia County, which is basically the city of Philadelphia, 1,200. And it is in 60 of our 67 counties. So it is spreading. There are some places where it's very minor, and there are a few counties where there are no reports, but still it is spreading. And it's coming from the East Coast, basically, or anywhere there was an airport, because this is how it's being spread in our modern world. And I think it's absolutely insane that anybody in these bus companies are still bringing people from New York City into Pennsylvania, but that's another rant for later perhaps. But the bottom line is we need to do what we can to keep ourselves safe, and I pray that you're doing all those things and not letting this destroy your life too badly. I mean, it's upset our lives obviously with our normal routines, but we just need to do what we can to win this war against this thing, and we can. And we will. So I just want to give you that encouragement too. But please spread the word to younger family members to treat themselves as though they were infected, even if they're thinking, oh, if I get it, I won't get real sick. Because according to the statistics I'm seeing, the largest age range that has tested positive for this are the 25 to 49-year-olds. And those are like the adults who are out in businesses and out and around a lot, who are more socially active perhaps. Although half of those who have been hospitalized have been in the over 65 age bracket. So they're the ones who suffer for that. So please spread the word if you can, remind people. And please don't be freaked out about this, because I was talking to a chemist and biologist friend of mine who said, look, you don't need any kind of heavy-duty industrial killer to stop this thing. Just regular soap and water will kill it if you wash your hands, because the chemical properties of soap actually break down the walls, the shell of the virus, and destroy it at that point. It doesn't just wash it off and it goes down the drain. It actually kills it. There is an antibacterial property to all soap, not just the kind that's marketed that way. But any kind of soap will do that. So please don't worry about needing anything heavier duty or whatever, thing special. You got to wipe surfaces, you want something with bleach on, because bleach kills everything. Or the hand sanitizers have ethanol alcohol in them, and that kills stuff too. So just use common sense is all I'm saying. All right, enough of medical reports. Let's talk about our church for a second here. Because of the fact that we're probably not going to be able to meet now until May, that means we won't be able to have a Palm Sunday, anything special on Palm Sunday. It also means we won't be able to have an Easter service at the church. However, I am planning something special for Easter morning. As we get a little closer, I'll let you know on Facebook and with one of these updates, perhaps if you see it on YouTube, that we will do something special for Easter morning. So it's not going to be like coming to the church, but it will be something new and different that you've perhaps never seen before, but it will still focus us on Christ's resurrection. So we'll pray that that comes together. If I can pull the technology together to do what I want to do, we can do that. Also, if you have any favorite hymns or worship songs that you'd like me to upload to the Facebook page, the church Facebook page, I've just been picking ones that I'm finding that seem to be interesting or inspiring. But if you've got some others, just give me the title of the hymn or the song, and I'll go, look it up, see who's done it. If there's a video out there on it that I can upload to the page, I will, so that you can enjoy that with you and your family. Or if you already know a video, just send me the link and I'll put it on the page. So either way, we want to keep people connected to our church, at least in this way. We haven't closed the doors. We're still a church. We're still worshiping, even though we're not together. Now, one other point that's been brought up to me. People are starting to ask, well, what do we do now with our offering envelopes? Because obviously you bring them in Sunday, put them in the offering plates, and that's the end of it. Since we can't do that now, what's been suggested is, if you want to make sure your offering gets sent into the church, because we still have bills to pay, of course, please just send it to Donna, our treasurer. I won't go into more details on video here to protect her privacy, but all of you, those of you connected to our church, know who Donna is. If you don't have her address, please call her on the phone if you have her number, or call one of the deacons and just mail them in, and you will get credit for it. It'll be recorded just like normal, and the money will go into the bank so that we can continue to operate with the bills that we do have. So that's just a suggestion for you for now. We're not as high tech to have online giving as some of the larger churches do, but we can at least do that. So if you've got offering envelopes that you've been wanting to get in and haven't been able to, please just send them to her and she'll process them and take care of that. Okay? Any other questions, please ask her with that as well. Let's read from God's Word for a couple minutes, shall we? This comes from Matthew 18, and I preached on a variation of this passage a number of weeks ago, but I felt like we should hit it just briefly today again. It makes sense. It's Matthew 18, 1 through 6. It says, "At that time the disciples came to Jesus and said, 'Who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?' And he called a child to himself and set him before them. And he said, 'Truly I say to you, unless you are converted and become like children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever then humbles himself as this child, he is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever receives one such child in my name receives me. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it would be better for him to have a heavy millstone hung around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Well, there are two main points here that I think Jesus is bringing out. I mean, there are more that we could, but two for our discussion today. The first of all is understanding the need for humility and trust if we want the Lord in our lives. We can't come to him on our feet. We have to come to him on our knees because he is great and we are sinners. We know that. But as we live the Christian life, that humility doesn't go away. We need to continue to trust him. We need to continue to obey him. We need to continue to have hope in him. And especially at a time like this when people are getting cabin fever and getting worried about the future, this is the time for childlike trust. And he won't let us down. He won't forsake us. So we have to continue that same kind of childlike faith that brought us to Jesus in the first place. And we have to live our lives that way. And we need to realize that there is no place for pride or arrogance in the church. We are all his children. He is the only one who knows what's absolutely best for us. His word has given us a guide, and we need to follow and obey that, read it, study it, especially now if you've got more time to be at home. You can get into the Word a bit more. You can spend more time with your families in the Word. And that's the second part of what he says here. He warns people that anyone who causes children to stumble, now what does he mean by that? Well, that they wouldn't believe, or that they would be led away into sin, or that they would go away and become atheists, or some other horrible thing like that, that they wouldn't be in Christ. Whoever leads that child to do that, the punishment from God will be horrendous. The idea of a millstone was a huge slab of rock. And in the grain mills, what they would do is they had one on the bottom and one on the top, and they would put the grain in between, and then it would be turned either by hand or by an animal. So it might weigh hundreds and hundreds of pounds, or even a couple tons, depending on how big of a mill it was. So a millstone, obviously, if somebody put that around your neck, tied that around your neck and threw you in the ocean, you'd drop to the bottom very quickly. So that's the imagery, the vivid imagery that Jesus uses here, that God is not happy when his children, especially his young children, are led away from his love and his truth. So now that perhaps you have more time at home with your kids, this is a time to reinforce their faith, a time to build their faith up and share with them how much the Lord does love them. Because you know they're not getting that out in the world anywhere, because there just isn't anything else. Beyond the family or the church, there is almost nothing else in our society that is sharing Christ's love with people. It's not in the schools, it's not in the most of what you see on TV or in music or in government. There's very little of it. I wish there were more, and there are people who are trying to get more in. But for right now, you're the front line. We are the front line in the church, too, to make sure that the little ones love Jesus and grow in his faith. So these 2 points from this passage from Matthew 18. Have the same kind of childlike trust in the Lord now through this time, and everything will be fine. And second of all, do all you can to make sure your children maintain that same kind of faith and trust in him, and don't allow anybody to pull them away from the faith. So we will be in touch with you again. If anybody has any needs, again, please use my phone numbers or my email and let me know. Any new prayer requests, please let me know, or let one of the deacons know, and we'll get that out there too. And Lord willing, we'll have another sermon message and time of prayer from the sanctuary on Sunday for Palm Sunday, and we'll go from there. I am allowed to drive down there as long as I'm not making contact with anybody. I'm allowed to drive down there and meet by myself there. So I'll try to bring the message to you from the sanctuary, so you haven't completely lost touch with our church building. So please stay safe, and please stay in the faith, and stay strong, because we will weather this storm together, and the Lord will give us the strength we need to do so. So thank you again for watching.